Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome back to another Fallout video. So on this one here, I wanted to talk about episodes 5 and 6. So I'm going to be breaking down both episodes. I'll mostly talk about episode 6, but I will obviously mention things that did happen in episode 5. I ended up very busy yesterday, so I couldn't get to any reviews or anything like that, but I did watch episode 5, but I mean, again, that was like 24 hours ago, and I was like, oh, I was kind of wanting to watch episode 6, and so I watched that today, and I was like, now I'd feel silly to sort of doing an episode 5 review and then an episode 6 separately, so I'll combine 5 and 6 together, and then I'll do an episode 7 review just like solely on that, and then an episode 8 breakdown, which will be a lot easier. So hopefully that's all done today or by tomorrow for sure at the absolute latest. So I'm definitely, I'm really liking this series. I'm really liking this series so far. After episode 6, I mean, that episode is a very big episode. There's a lot to talk about here. So obviously, this will contain spoilers for Fallout episodes 5 and 6, so I do hope you guys are all aware of that. Definitely make sure to be a subscriber if you do want to get all my Fallout content like this. Once I'm done like breaking down all the episodes, I'll do some Fallout videos on like a potential season 2, or not potential. It seems like there is going to be a season 2. There's like a lot of promise there when it comes to an actual season 2 there, and I've been seeing from a lot of people based on how it ends. It looks like there is going to be a season 2. We'll see. I have 2 more episodes left. But yeah, I'm definitely very excited to see where this is going to go here. And yeah, we'll get into a whole season 2 thing, and in terms of, you know, filming and all that, and a release date on when that could actually come out. So yeah, just stay tuned for all of that. But let's actually get into episode 5. So in this one here, I'll say out of all of the episodes, it was probably my least favorite episode, even though this is the one technically where Lucy and Maximus actually find each other. I think overall it was just sort of, I think it was sort of the runtime as well, but episodes 4 and 5, I think, needed to be split up in the way that they did. So they definitely were the shorter episodes. I do think if this was airing week to week, these episodes would have been more of the, you know, more boring episodes. I don't want to say boring because that's labeling it the wrong way, but it would have felt like, okay, nothing's really happening here until episode 6, which obviously was like the really like phenomenal episode that really got into a lot of stuff. So in this episode here, we do see Maximus with his squire, and everything just sort of goes really wrong when Maximus, you know, just opens up to the fact that he is not really Knight Titus, right? And Thaddeus, obviously very loyal to the Brotherhood, gets very upset about that, and takes out his fusion core and then just leaves, takes the head and just like runs away. So this leaves Maximus trapped in this place basically until Lucy shows up, and Lucy shows up and is able to take him out. And this is where it gets very interesting because, you know, to see the dynamic between the characters here play out, I really do like these characters together. In episode 6, I was very happy to see them actually together for most of that episode. You know, 7 and 8, we'll see where things go here, but yeah, very interesting character pairings just because they both have different backgrounds. They both come at problems very differently. And it's very interesting, I'll say that, you know, to see characters not understand just like, you know, some basic life stuff because of just where they sort of came from, right? Like Maximus is from the Brotherhood and Lucy is from the Vault, right? Like there's just certain things that they both know because they were taught certain things, but I mean, there's advantages to it, right? Like they definitely need each other, I feel like, in the apocalypse here. Like they need each other to sort of navigate throughout all of this here, because we see in episode, I would say episode 5, you know, exactly why I think, you know, Lucy doesn't really necessarily understand what life is like, you know, on the surface. But in episode 6, we see why Maximus, I think, definitely needs Lucy as well, because Lucy, she knows something's up here, but obviously for Maximus, he's just kind of like, I don't know, I'm liking this life right now, right? In episode 5, we do see Betty become the overseer, so that seemed to be sort of planned and everything from sort of the beginning as well. So yeah, some interesting stuff there. In terms of all the Vault stuff, I mean, yeah, Norman is growing very interested in sort of, you know, what happened in Vault 31, why everyone was trying to get into Vault 31. I'm very curious about Vault 31 as well. I do want to know more about that vault, and I guess in episode 7 or 8, we're probably going to get some sort of conclusion or resolution to it, right? So I'm guessing episode 7, I'm trying to think of where a lot of this is going to go here. There's a lot of different storylines that I think should overall have a conclusion here in the finale, but there's going to be set up for a season 2 in some way, right? There might be some sort of cliffhanger in some way. So I'm trying to figure out what stuff is going to get a conclusion overall. And I think some of the Moldaver stuff that, you know, potentially could, there might be an ending there, at least when it comes to the doctor and all that, or Wilzig, right? Like his head. You know, some of that stuff could get sort of clarified here. In terms of Vault 31, though, hard to say, because Vault 31, And again, it's kind of hard for me to talk about this because maybe they resolve everything in episode 7 and 8. As of right now, in terms of watching it, yeah, I have a lot of questions on like where this is going here because I got 2 more episodes left. But the plan in Vault 32 is that we're going to, or I guess the plan for Vault 33 is that we're going to clean up Vault 32. And they basically kind of did, you know, everything that we saw obviously in the previous episode, in episode 4, I believe, was all cleaned up in episode 5. So it was just like, what? None of it ever happened, right? And so Norman obviously is, I'd say he's in a very scary situation because, I mean, I don't know, like, maybe I'm not understanding the story correctly, but it seemed like to me that everything was sort of already planned for who was going to be the overseer, right? And so it seems like it was already planned that Betty would become that. And so all of this here was already planned. So I don't think Betty knew of all of this. I mean, maybe she's aware, but I feel like for her, she's really just living life like, you know, she's actually trying to get elected, this and that. But everything has sort of been planned already by, I guess, a management vault somewhere. That's sort of the interpretation I have here, but maybe I'm wrong, but that's sort of the interpretation of everything that I have here. Now, in terms of Maximus and Lucy in the main storyline, first of all, they have like a whole bridge encounter with some people there that were basically cannibals, and that leads to Maximus getting injured, and eventually they have to find, like, you know, medical supplies or whatever, and that lands them in Vault 4. And that's where episode 6 starts, in which we do see this flashback of Cooper doing a lot of advertisements for the vaults. Specifically, Vault 4 we actually do see here, and yeah, I really do like seeing all the promotion stuff, though, for all this. Like, just to see, you know, what it was like to actually film all of the ads and stuff, you know, for the vaults, because that was such a big part in terms of the apocalypse starting. Like, everyone sort of knew that something might come or something might happen one day, and it just seemed like Vault Tech just took over the United States, right? At least financially anyways. That was sort of you know, a lot of the I guess concern in episode 6. You know, that was a big debate as to like what Vault Tech is, and it looks like a lot of people are trying to fight back against them, which I do understand it. But what's kind of cool about all of this is that you do kind of understand both sides to everything here. Vault Tech is trying to save lives, and that's the thing too. Like, the biggest appeal about all of it is that, you know, like, you are probably going to die. You know, like 90% of the world's probably going to be wiped out. And if you're in a vault, you are going to be safe, right? But if you're not in a vault, you're not going to be safe. But there's also questions about what they're doing with these vaults, because obviously we know that not all vaults are good. Some vaults, you know, definitely if you're more powerful and all of that, and you're in a management vault, things overall, I guess, should be fine. I still have some questions on that, but overall, you know, that's sort of what you want. And obviously Cooper's in a situation where he can actually end up in one of those vaults. So he's, you know, he's definitely in a very good situation, but obviously we know sort of where his story is right now. So what happens, right? And I think that's probably going to be a big reveal in episode 8 here. It's just what happened to Cooper and why isn't he in the vault like right now, right? And what happened to his wife and all of that. And they actually get into that in episode 6 here, but we'll talk about that once we actually get there. I do like the scene where we actually see the outside of, I believe it's Vault 4. And Vault 4 at first seemed very, very nice. And obviously I knew that something bad was going to be here. Like, just my overall sort of feeling that I had going into this was like, there's something off here. Obviously, it's not going to be as good as what they're saying. We haven't really seen a vault that was bad yet. Like Vault 32, there was issues, but I don't know if they were bad in any way. Like, you know what I mean? I feel like, you know, bad things probably just happened to them and they were just sort of forced to survive, right? So any vault that had any sort of really bad intentions and all that, we haven't really come across yet, but I had a feeling that this was probably going to be that. And yeah, Maximus obviously is very suspicious. Lucy believes it's safe because to her knowledge, yeah, every vault is safe. You know, vaults are just, they're an amazing place to be, basically, right? She obviously believes in all of that here. And, you know, going through the first couple of scenes here, I immediately thought like, okay, they got to be a vault of scientists, or at least like the people that are on level 12 that work up there are scientists. Like there's got to be something here because they're doing experiments on people, it seems like. And some people seem to be from, you know, up above, but I'm guessing, you know, that was sort of that was the reveal. It looks like Vault 4 was the vault that was, you know, in terms of a management vault, this one was an experiment vault in general, which basically had scientists doing experiments on people, and you allowed people from the surface to come down and you just sort of studied them and all of that, right? We see a lot more Cooper flashbacks, and those honestly are like my favorite. I feel like out of all of the actual scenes that we've seen here, the Cooper flashbacks, I feel like, are probably my favorite. And yeah, obviously he's growing very suspicious of everything here. He's not really liking what he's doing. He wants to go back to just, you know, being a cowboy, and his wife really needs his job. And the reason why is because it does ensure her a place in like a very good vault, right? And Cooper is questioning everything, just like what is going on. And, during dinner with his wife, like he's asking about like who's making the rules, like not allowing dogs, and that's the management. That's basically Vault Tech that's making all these rules here. And he's just questioning a lot of stuff. Like, why do we need to have things this way? Why can't we have a dog there? Like, it just, a lot of this stuff doesn't really make a lot of sense. So I really like the fact that Cooper slowly throughout the series right now is starting to turn into, I guess, a hero. He's not really a villain. It seems like, he was somebody that obviously questioned a lot of things, but it seemed like a lot of bad things happened to him. And that's why he became like the ghoul, right? So yeah, very, very interesting character. But we see Maximus, he does have his armor back. I really like the fact that they actually just did that because I didn't want to spend another episode just going back to grabbing his armor. The fact that they were sort of close by too, I think makes sense as to why they would just collect his armor right away. Yeah, I still have some questions at this point though about Vault 4, and he actually gets caught trying to steal a fusion core, but this leads to him getting his own room, and then he is happy. He's living the life, and then Lucy at the same time, she finds an NCR flag, which when I first saw that, I was like, okay, there's something here with Moldaver because I knew that she was a part of that. And yeah, I had a lot of questions at this point here as to what this actual vault was about. And I still have some questions, but at this point, I kind of understand generally what they're doing. But yeah, then we see Cooper. He's taken to Sorrel, I believe his name is, and he mentions he's still looking for her or something like that. Or that was the reference to Cooper. And I was like, wait, his wife? So I have, again, there's a lot of questions in terms of a lot of what has happened in the past. And I really like how the season is structured. There's a lot of mystery as to like, who Cooper is. And that's the thing, for a season 2, you would have to create a lot of mystery like this with these characters again. I don't know how you would do it. You could introduce newer characters, but you would have to create some sort of mystery. And I guess the mystery mostly is with Cooper, because with Maximus and Lucy, we kind of get their backstories already, right? There's some stuff with the vault, and again, the Brotherhood of Steel, there's not really a lot going on there, but maybe we learn more about them in the season 2, right? But the interesting thing about this scene is that Cooper actually remembers Moldaver, and they didn't really get into it too much in this scene here, but during a scene where he actually talks with his friend, or he was acting with his friend in the movie, he learns of like this meeting that's taking place. And so he actually goes there. Oh, actually, I totally forgot. In the very, very beginning, it seemed like, I don't remember what his name is, but was he the voice for Codsworth? Like, I literally just played Fallout 4 and I recognized that voice immediately. So that was a very cool Easter egg. Like, that was honestly really amazing. I mean, I asked it like a question, like, was that the voice for Codsworth? I know it was, but I know he's the voice for Codsworth. Like, they actually mentioned it there that he basically sold his voice and everything to the robot. So all the robots everywhere are going to basically have that voice. And yeah, very interesting Easter egg there. But in Vault 4, we eventually learn that there's like this cult thing, and they're all praying to the Flame Mother, which as soon as they said that, I was like, okay, so that's Moldaver. And again, I still have questions as to why and just what her influence is here in this vault. I mean, we do learn in a flashback that Moldaver actually was around 200 years ago, and she actually met Cooper. So very, very interesting. And she's still around to this day. So I'm kind of wondering how, was she frozen for a very long time? Is there something where maybe she's a ghoul? I don't see how, but like maybe there's, because there's that science or scientist vault, maybe there's something that they're doing there. I have no idea. Like maybe there's some way that she's sort of been kept alive. I have a lot of questions here, but Moldaver, obviously, she's a part of the NCR. A very, very, big story here is about to happen, and I'm so excited here. And that was the big reveal basically in this episode here at the very end, is that Vault 4, they're basically a cult that really supports Moldaver. And I'm guessing technically the NCR, and they're a bunch of scientists that do experiments and this and that. And Moldaver is apparently like over 200 years old, just as old as Cooper. So I'm very, very interested in, why and how and like where this is going here. Lucy obviously got captured by them at the very end. So there's going to be a bunch of stuff that happens here in episode 7. I imagine they're probably going to escape. And yeah, just how does Cooper eventually get back to, Lucy and Maximus? I imagine all of this here is going to happen in episode 7, where they're all together. Moldaver is going to be there, and there's going to be like this final showdown in the finale. That's my guess as of now, but yeah, we'll have to wait and see. So I really enjoyed these episodes, but obviously episode 6 I enjoyed a lot more. Definitely make sure to be a subscriber if you do want to get my breakdown of episode 7. That will be coming out later on today. Hope you guys all enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.